African Parks was founded in 2000 to effectively manage Africa's protected areas.
Africa Parks is a very significant conservation organization. It has roots in 12 countries. There are 22 parks that it manages, and it has a very substantial budget from wealthy individuals, governments, the EU, and so forth. Now, the accusations against it by Survival International go back over a decade, but most specifically last May, Survival International contacted Prince Harry. Now that was significant because he was president of Africa Parks for 6 years. Last year, he was elevated to the board of directors, which is its governing body. The allegations which surfaced in the Mail on Sunday in January were of atrocities, of rape, of torture, of beatings. Now, these were extremely serious, and Africa Parks says, and still says, that they are being investigated. But there's a new book by Dutch journalist Olivier van Beemen, Entrepreneurs in the Wild, and there are further allegations of torture and so forth that, again, will increase pressure on Prince Harry to stand down from the board, at least while these investigations continue. There's no doubt also that if he doesn't stand down, he should stand aside. There should undoubtedly be a response, especially since Harry is so keen on conservation and so keen on this particular issue. But Africa Parks have called the book flawed and implied that it's biased, and they say that the allegations made by Survival International are currently being investigated. Even so, if you read them, and there's some devastating personal accounts, this should mean that there should be some action on Harry's part, either standing down from the board whilst they're being investigated, or alternatively standing aside, at least perhaps temporarily. I would have thought that another statement should surely clarify what his precise position is at the moment during this difficult period. There's also been a great deal of comment about the different attitudes between Princes William and Harry over African conservation. William believes it should be more organic, that the local people themselves should be the ones who are first and foremost in charge of this, or come to be in charge of it. Harry believes it's in a more interventionist approach, and that is what Africa Parks broadly does. There's no doubt, however, that these allegations are devastating, potentially. There's absolutely no question that there should now be a response from him, more than there briefly was when allegations which had been made last year, indeed there have been allegations from Survival International about Africa Parks for a considerable time, that this should elicit some response from him, absolutely. After his memoir Spare made it absolutely clear that his views towards the royal family had remained hostile. And also, of course, he, in a series of interviews, also trashed the royal family. I mean, one of the problems with this has been Harry and the Sussexes have absolutely dreadful ratings in the polls in Britain. The one exception is the 18 to 24-year-old group, and they are the one group who are anti-monarchy. The two must be linked. It's because, or partly because, of the Sussexes' activities over the last 4 years that this has occurred. So clearly, I mean, you have to bear that in mind. So far as Harry's citizenship is concerned, I mean, he has talked about the possibility of applying for American citizenship. Now, already his visa application, the Heritage Foundation has asked to see it. This has been considered in the court, and the judge has yet to rule on this. But there's absolutely no doubt that whilst President Biden is in office, the matter won't be officially pursued. The American ambassador to Britain has made that absolutely clear, and it's also been clear in the hearings in the court in the United States. But if he were at some point, and he has talked about it, to apply for American citizenship, the matter of his titles would be a huge question mark. Could he keep them? Meghan, after all, is an American citizen, but she is the Duchess and she was an HRH. But on the other hand, there appears to be the possibility, at least it's been rumored, that were he to apply for American citizenship, obviously titles are discouraged. Obviously, the Americans do not confer them. However, he already has titles. Would he be allowed to keep them? Hypothetically, could he even apply to the Supreme Court on this? It's a matter for some debate, just as his domicile, there is such a thing, not just of domicile when it comes to actually owning a property or having the use of one, but also domicile of origin. And he, of course, could claim that his domicile of origin was Britain, and that would be in the context of a Council of State. But since he isn't a working member of the royal family, he would never be called on, or would not be called on. But there are a lot of questions that would occur, because this would be a somewhat unique case, I think, if he were to apply for American citizenship. So far as residency is concerned, it recognises the current position with a touch of bitterness, because it's obvious that he mentions when he was when they were evicted from Frogmore that this was when the residency in the United States, so to speak, began. I think that it's another step towards, so to speak, the inevitable. There's a very deep rift with the royal family. I mean, it's not just a question of trying to cut ties, it's a question that ties already, well, they have been cut, because the rift symbolises that. And whether or not King Charles and the Princess of Wales's illnesses, both serious, will alter that. We will see in the weeks and months to come. Illness can be a huge game changer, even among families who are bitterly divided.